Rama Rama Hare Hare. So text number 6. We first repeat words. Karma Indriyani Samyamya Yaha Aste Manasa Smaran Indriya Arthan Vimudha Atma Mitya Acharaha Saha Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Yaste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimodhatma Mityachara Sa Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Yaste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimodhatma Mityachara Sa Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Yaste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimodhatma Mityachara Sa Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Yaste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimodhatma Mityachara Sa Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Yaste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimodhatma Mityachara Sa Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Yaste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimodhatma Mityachara Sa Uchyate. Mataji's chant also. Karmendriyani Samyamya Yaste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimodhatma Mityachara Sa Uchyate Karmendriyani Samyamya Yaste Manasa Smaran Indriyarthan Vimodhatma Mityachara Sa Uchyate Karma Indriyani, the 5 working sense organs. Samyamya, controlling. Yaha, anyone who. Aste, remains. Manasa, by the mind. Smaran, thinking of. Indriya Arthan, sense objects. Vimudha, foolish. Atma, soul. Mityacharaha, pretender. Saha, he. Uchyate, is called. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, says Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. One who restrains the senses of action, that is still feedbacking. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Purport. There are many pretenders who refuse to work in Krishna consciousness, but make a show of meditation, while actually dwelling within the mind upon sense enjoyment. Such pretenders may also speak on dry philosophy in order to bluff sophisticated followers. But according to this verse, these are the greatest cheaters. For sense enjoyment, one can act in any capacity of the social order, but if one follows the rules and regulations of his particular status, he can make gradual progress in purifying his existence. But he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the object of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater, even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy. His knowledge has no value, because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishta Vitala Srimad Bhakti Vikasa Swami Namne. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishta Vitala Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavri Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimodatma mityachara sauchate. One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So this is very nice verse. All verses of Bhagavad Gita are nice. Some are still nicer. We could say that. Or at least some of them are very important, more important or really something that can help us in our situation. Our situation is that of being completely in illusion. Basically, we are all born in illusion and we live throughout our life in great illusion. Now, there are many different phases of illusion and then many faces of illusion, but we are in illusion. And this is what we need to really understand. Especially when we come to Krishna consciousness, it's good to understand that we are in illusion. That will help us. Because this verse, although we can very easily associate especially the purport, with so many people outside of Krishna consciousness, there are many rascals, cheaters, in the society, especially in India, but not only in India. It's all over the world that there are people who claim to be great yogis or avatars or some great spiritual teachers or whatever, and they are actually just cheaters. And they delude themselves, they're pretenders very often. Sometimes they may be, if you think of someone who is deluded, he may not realize that he's a pretender, but most of them, they do realize that they are not what they claim to be. But they want to exploit other living entities and the resources of this material world. And they just cheat everyone. And there are so many foolish people who are ready to follow them for whatever reason. But there's so many, we can see that so many. And there's so many people who come to Krishna consciousness to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna and such pure, wonderful knowledge that is presented here. There are not so many, but there's so many people who follow all these different rascals and cheaters and so on. Finally, it's just, as I said, these are all different phases of illusion. So Prabhupada says that, so one thing is that we can see it very easily outside, but we should also think about ourselves within Krishna consciousness. That is also for us. That verse it is very nice verse to help us to embark on the right path in Krishna consciousness. It means to be very sincere and honest and not to pretend anything. Because the tendency may also be that when we come into the circle of some kind of spiritual circle, some kind of society, we may like to, be recognized in some way, and we may like to pretend something, take to some, we adopt some kind of facade, create some kind of illusory image of ourselves in which we may also even believe, we may ourselves think, yes, this is, and we're waiting for others to recognize the same. And when they do this, we think, yes, this is right. But no, it's not like that. First of all, what is yoga? We are talking here about yoga. We are the society of yoga. What is yoga? What is yoga? Sir?
Connection. Yoga practice.
Sorry?
Connection. Yoga means yoga.
Means to
Linking.
link. What else it means? Yeah, that's one of the meanings. Another? Connection. What else it is? What is it? How does it manifest? What kind of action is it? Yes. This is what Prabhupada says. Commenting on this verse in the class, he starts with these words. That control of the senses. First of all, is the control of the senses. We have to learn how to control our senses. But if one restrains the senses of action, but mind dwells on sense object, then he certainly deludes himself. So it's not only controlling the senses, but then within meditating on them. I think Srila Bharata Vidya Bhushana, he comments that a yogi who is a fool, he will produce no sound, but within his mind, the sound will go on of the material world, of the objects of the material world. You may not want to see the woman or look at the woman, but you may think about the woman and see her form within your mind. And that will no one will see that. And Prabhupada says, commenting on this verse, he says that in one class, that we should ourselves realize what is our situation. And this is for us. What am I thinking? Where is my focus? Where is my attention going? We've been discussing here with devotees over the last several days about the process of hearing with rapt attention. How important it is to apply the process very sincerely and very strongly. This process of Krishna consciousness is Shravanam Kirtanam. This means hearing and chanting. This is the basis of this whole process of Krishna consciousness, and the whole movement is based on this Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. So this hearing and chanting, we should give lots of attention to that, so that we can actually purify ourselves. Srila Prabhupada explained that it's not enough just to hear. One should also realize. One should also hear with rapt attention. And how to hear with rapt attention? We may see sometimes ourselves. We don't have to point fingers at others, but we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. We lose it. We are not very attentive. Sometimes you can see during classes devotees falling asleep. No attention. How to be attentive? How to practice in such a way that Chetodarpana Marjanam, that the heart may become purified. So Srila Prabhupada explains that our activities that we are conditioned by, and we are conditioned also to perform them, like sleeping, mating, defending, and eating, these 4 things, these have to be purified. We have to be purified in our habitual activities. These things we cannot avoid, yes? You have to eat, you have to sleep, defend. If you're brahmachari, you don't have to mate. But generally, these are conditional activities that we are forced to perform. So how to purify them? There's a whole science. Krishna consciousness is not a matter of some sentiment. Something like, oh yes, I believe in Krishna. Krishna is wonderful. Yes, I love Krishna. It's not like that. There is a saying that action speaks louder than words. Means you have to act also. Not that only just say something or feel something or think something, but you actually have to. So these conditional activities, you have to purify them. How to purify them? How to purify your eating habit? You have to eat. How to eat purely? Any ideas? Prasadam, to eat prasadam. How much? So much. Only prasadam, that's the point. You eat prasadam, but not, everyone eats prasadam in India. When they go to temple, they get little prasad, they eat prasadam. But is this the way to purify your eating habit? Many people, especially in West, when we are in the temple and Indian people, they come and visit, they are surprised when we give them plate of prasadam. They are surprised. And they don't want sometimes, they want just a little bit. Because they have a concept that prasadam is just a little bit. And apart from that, you eat whatever else you want. And prasadam, you get a little bit. You come to the temple, pull your ears, and take little prasadam. And job done. Everything is okay now. But it's not like that. The whole point is that you eat prasadam only. That there is nothing else that you eat in your life. That is how you purify your eating activity. That means whatever you eat, you first prepare it for Krishna. Because Krishna says, then one may ask, why? Okay, why is it like that? Why should I be eating only prasadam? There's so many nice preparations, on the corner there's a man making nice samosas. There's some nice dosa, there's some, what's the problem? It's all vegetarian. I'm pure veg. What's the problem? Huh? What is the problem? What's the problem? Just few verses later, Krishna says, what's the problem? Yagya shishta shina shanto muchante sarvakil vishay gunchade tvagham papaye pachantyatma karanat. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. Why is it only sin? Basically, he says, bad karma, sin, whatever else it is sinful. Why? Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada explained, is a science of self-realization. This is scientific movement. We don't present any hodgepodge, something, sentimental stuff. No, science. Why is it sinful? Vegetarian, pure veg food, why is sinful? Eat some nice apple, banana from the tree, sin. Why? Without offering to Krishna, why is it sinful? What? And, okay, what else? There is one, he left body recently, I think. He was one of my first, before Krishna consciousness, I was taking some lessons. His name was Thich That Nhat. He was a Buddhist guru or whatever they call them. So he was pure veg, vegan, at least that much. These days, even Buddhists, Buddha was teaching ahimsa parodharma. The highest dharma is ahimsa, non-violence. But even these days, so many Buddhists, they eat meat. I had many friends Buddhists. I had one Buddhist friend, he was vegetarian. When he went to Tibet for, some meditation, he spent the 1 year, he came back eating meat. He learned, in Tibet, he learned that meat is okay. And when I asked him why, he said, this is all mind. Don't worry, it's all mind. That was his answer. No discussion, just mind, all mind. We don't need to discuss that even. So many Buddhists these days, they eat meat. But this one particular one was at least honorable in that way that he was practicing sense control and pure diet. So he wrote a book that I read. Every step brings peace. Every step brings peace. So when I came to Krishna consciousness, I realized, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his teachings, that every step brings death, not peace. There is no such a thing like every step brings peace. It's nonsense, basically speaking. Sounds nice. You hear it, wow, every step brings peace. Let me step like this throughout this world. But when you make any step, there will be some ant that you will kill. willingly or not, but you will kill so many living entities. Yes? So in the production of food, in the production of anything in our life, I mean all the time, every step brings death actually. You breathe and you kill. You walk, you kill. You produce food, you kill on the way. You want to eat innocent banana, but while walking towards the tree, you will kill so many living entities. That's why you are bound by sinful reactions. You're going to be bound by the reactions of your activities. So there's no such a thing that you can eat vegetarian food and it's pure because it's vegetarian. No, it's full of sinful reactions. That's why you have to surrender ourselves to Krishna in every way, and also in the way of offering food that we offer to Him. Then Krishna takes all the reactions. Then it becomes sanctified. Then it becomes purified. So that's why this proposal is that we have to eat only food that is purified, which is prasadam. There is no other food in this world which is so-called karma-free. Only prasadam. It's karma-free. Everything else, good and bad, good activities, bad activities, these are all they are all called karma bandhana. They create bondage in this material world. Whatever you do something good, that's nice, it's good, but it's going to bind you within the cycle of birth and death. Only activities of Krishna consciousness, pure Krishna consciousness, are those activities that liberate us from that cycle of birth and death. And here we need to stress and understand one thing, that this is the goal of life, to free ourselves from the cycle of birth and death. That's the whole point of Krishna consciousness, nothing else. Don't come to Krishna consciousness thinking that maybe someone will recognize me, it's a society where, I didn't manage out there, maybe I'll manage here. It's a smaller group. It will be easier for me to manifest my my greatness, Others will recognize. Don't think like that. This is not the purpose of Krishna consciousness. The purpose of Krishna consciousness is to become fully Krishna conscious and not come back to this miserable world. This world is a miserable place. This is also something we have to understand, and this is what Krishna says. It's a place of misery. God says this. This is not my opinion or someone's opinion. It is Krishna's opinion. He says this is a place of misery. It's like the government. The government is trying to create nice situation for people generally. That's what it should be. But they also create prison. And that prison is a place of misery. That's the purpose of prison. You have to be punished. If you do something wrong, you go there, you'll be punished. And no one will cry that you are, suffering there. That's what you've earned. This is your situation now, sorry, that's how it is. So here as well, Krishna says it's a place of misery, but He's so kind and merciful that He also says that you don't need to stay here. You don't have to be part of this world. You don't belong in here anyway. So we are in this illusion that, we think this is me and this is mine and that's my situation, and, we come in front of the mirror every day in the morning, and yes, we try to make it look good, No, that's not us. This is just our illusion from which we have to free ourselves. And to do that, we have to purify activities, those basics, so eating, then sleeping, mating, different, how to purify mating activities, for example. How to be pure in that? You have to control your senses. It's not that you have wife and you can use her as much as you want for your own pleasure. No, it's not like that. If we understand who we are, we know that I'm not this body. That person here, she's also not this body. Temporarily, I'm taking the role of being a husband, and she has taken the role, that soul has taken the role of being a wife. So we have certain duties. But the main duty is to serve Krishna and become Krishna conscious. So that means, again, you have no right to use this other person for your own sense enjoyment. You have to control the senses. And there is time, and if there is purpose of creating good progeny, Krishna conscious children, bring some suffering souls that are waiting somewhere there to take birth in the Vaishnava family, then we perform Garbhodana Samskara, which means actually Prabhupada said minimum 50 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra that day to purify us more. It's not that, now you have, time to enjoy. It's not like that. It's a sanctified uh, situation also. Even more, that day should be more sanctified than another. And then Krishna says, this is, come with me. I'm that kind of sex indulgent. That's Krishna then. It's Krishna conscious. That's pure. And then you don't become contaminated. Otherwise, this lust is a great enemy. Great enemy. And the whole world is running on this. Mr. Lust has taken the strategic positions within the field of activity, which means our body. Yes? We are all the time disturbed by this desire for sexual pleasure. Very strong. That's why there's also culture. There was a situation, devotees, Prabhupada disciples, they were walking with Prabhupada and they had some discussion about this sex life and so on. And one of the devotees, he said something, I don't remember exactly, but he said something like this, that we are so much, disturbed by this, but, in India it's not like that. Prabhupada said, don't think that people in India don't have lust, but they have culture that protects them. That's why culture is very important. That's why men separate from women. And that used to be also in the past in the West as well. That kind of, culture was there. Maybe not to that extent as in India, but it was there. I even remember when I was a child and going to church, women on one side, men on the other side. But maybe they didn't have so much understanding and explanation, but somewhere it was there. That was also practiced. Nowadays, there's this trend that, just free mixing is okay, men, women, all equal, very nice. Have a friend, you can have a friend, a girl who is your friend. Not girlfriend, but just a friend. But it doesn't work. It ends up in problematic situations, always. Because man is like butter, and woman is like fire. When you bring them together, what happens to butter? Melts. You lose your senses, that's what happens. You lose your senses. So that's why we have to separate ourselves. And even in married life, a man should not spend too much time with his wife also. Because he will also be agitated and also will be under the influence of that energy, which is not good for a man. Man should be focused on Krishna consciousness, service, and woman should take nice care of children and house and everything. And they help each other, of course, as much as possible. These days especially, sometimes men have to become, granny and auntie, and, because we don't have these family systems anymore. Like this, that's my experience, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we don't even want to be in our families together because they are all, meat eaters and, they don't understand anything. So we don't want to be together with them. They would, of course, help us also with our children, but the help they would offer, we wouldn't like, we wouldn't like that. But we end up in the situation that, it's only me and my wife and a child. So, it's very difficult sometimes. You have to help. But the idea is, as much as possible, we limit that association, even in the grihastha life. And sleeping, how to purify our sleeping? How to purify sleeping, sir? How do you purify your sleeping habit? Any idea?
While sleeping, you can think that tomorrow I'll get fresh and I'll chant peacefully.
Which means?
Means when we are going to sleep, at least we can remember that I'm going to take rest so that my mind will be fresh for chanting.
So the idea is that I'm going to sleep now so that I can rest and prepare my body for more service to Krishna. Then how much you rest? That's part of it. There should be, because you can go to sleep and sleep 12 hours, for example, and get up at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then refresh, chant Hare Krishna. Recently I heard even a doctor scientist, he said that they discovered recently, all glories to them for the discovery, that sleeping too much is toxic to the body. They say that it's actually, it's physically, it's creating some toxins within the body. So one should not sleep too long, 6 hours, 7 hours, Prabhupada said, generally speaking. Generally he would say 6 hours, enough. Just rest the body, enough. And then what time to sleep? That's also important, that you regulate your life. Don't go to sleep too late. Go to early to bed, early to rise, makes man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Prabhupada used to say, that's a saying. But it works. We have a saying in my country, in Polish, so in Polish it rhymes nicely, but the meaning of it is that when who gets up early in the morning, to that person God gives. So that point is also that, you may take it materially, but we see it spiritually. If you get up nicely early in the morning and then chant Hare Krishna and then read and hear about Krishna and perform some, do some puja or something, then you become so purified and so empowered and everything becomes nice and clear. Because the point of purified activity is that your action becomes pure, and by action that is pure, your mind becomes also pure. And when you have pure mind, then you can hear this chanting and the glories of Krishna with rapt attention. And this, Prabhupada says, is the secret of understanding Bhagavatam. The secret of understanding that message of Krishna consciousness is that you hear it with rapt attention. But for that you need to have purified mind. But to have purified mind, you have to have purified action. To have purified action, you have to have these pure activities: sleeping, mating, defending, and eating. Eating, yes. So, how to be pure in defense? That's another one. Pure defense. Huh? We were not sure when we were discussing this. We were not sure exactly what does it mean to be pure in defending. Prabhu, what would you say?
So first thing is, there is, our own position should be that of complete dependence on the Lord, and humility for basically means that we don't, for our own sake, we don't try much to defend ourselves in the sense that, of course, there are multiple considerations here. If there are aggressors, if you have to defend yourself when it comes to people who are attacking you for the sake, when you're in danger of losing your life, then maybe you should defend yourself, because that's as per Shastra. Right, but small and big things, we try to defend more of our ego than anything.
That's the
else,
point.
right? Physical
Yes.
defense, possibly not many people are required also. Some situations may not be so adverse that we are faced with physical adversities, but yeah, most of the time we are defending our own false ego.
Yeah, we are in illusion of grandeurs. We think we are great people. And if someone in any way undermines this, we become very defensive. So we don't need that. Let's be a little bit pure. Trinada piso nichena tarora pisa hishtuna amana mana dena kirtaniya sadahari. One should become more humble than the grass lying on the street. Not much more humble than that. You don't find many more humble positions than that of being lower than the grass on the street. More tolerant than the tree. We have to tolerate. Yes, there'll be people who will, disturb us or who will call us maybe some names or maybe they will laugh at us or something. Okay, tolerate. Don't defend immediately. One should always be very respectful to others and never ask for respect for himself. We should not. That's a great disease. People want to be respected, but in spiritual life we don't need that. That respect is actually poison. We don't need that. Be very humble, perform your service, focus on Krishna, focus on pleasing Krishna, and don't defend yourself. And if you want to defend yourself, defend your position of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said there are two diseases that his disciples have. One is that they are not enough afraid of Maya. So that was one of the thoughts that we had here about defense, that, we should defend ourselves from becoming victims of Maya. We should be afraid of Maya. Defense system comes when there's fear. Like, there's this China wall. Do you know how long it is? China wall. You know China wall? You heard about China wall? It's a huge wall. I recently discovered, I had a lesson with boys, Guru Kulis, and I prepared the subject. So I actually didn't know. It's 22,000 kilometers long. 22,000 kilometers long. Can you imagine? Wall, long like that. But what is that wall actually? You can, when you think about it philosophically a little bit, what is that wall? They built such a big wall. It's just expression of human fear. This is the defense system, wall. And it's expression of our fear. We are so fearful in this material world. And every living entity is. This is the basis of our life, fear. The little bird will come down on the street to, find some food. First of all, has to look 10 times around. Is there a cat? Or something else. Always fear, because this is the nature of this world also. Every step there is danger. So you're very fearful. So because of that fear, we create defense systems. There is no industry in the world that takes more money of its citizens than military industry. So much they take into creating that defense system. So yes, so we need to purify that also. So that means, as per Shastra, as Prabhu said, sometimes if there's some aggressor, he comes to kill your family or something, you have the right to defend, you have the right to kill that person. That you do. That's Shastric. But in terms of our everyday life, we don't need to be defensive and defend every centimeter of our false ego. We don't need to do that. We have to purify that. We have to understand, yes, I'm the speck of dust at the feet of the Lord, serving Krishna, and I don't need to maintain any respectful position. So in this way, if we can purify activities and control our senses, then we can engage ourselves in real yoga, in the process of linking ourselves with the Supreme, because that's the point here. Krishna consciousness or yoga means to link with the Supreme. These days, I saw today some banner, Shankara Yoga for wellness and fitness. Linking with good health. Yoga is there to link you with good health, so that you can become fit and have better sex life also. That is also advertised like that. So no, yoga means it links you with the Supreme Lord. So yoga means to control your senses, but also our mind cannot dwell on the sense objects, because then we'll delude ourselves, we'll be pretenders. So in Krishna consciousness means we have to understand what is our position, and within that position we dovetail everything for the pleasure of Krishna. We engage ourselves accordingly. That means, if you're not in the position of becoming a sannyasi, don't become a sannyasi. Be a householder, humble householder, who is engaging his hard-earned money in Krishna consciousness, his time, whatever he has in Krishna consciousness, and all his activities, whatever he has, he will dedicate for Krishna. Children that he will have, he will educate so that they also can learn. Prabhupada said 4 things. Education for children means 4 things. They should learn how to bow down to Krishna, how to become devotees of Krishna. What else? I forgot now. Bow down to Krishna, become devotees of Krishna, how to worship Krishna, and how to offer everything to Krishna. This is education. So one should not become a father, a mother, a teacher, a guru if he cannot liberate his dependence from the repeated cycle of birth and death. The whole point is to bring our children to Krishna. Give them Krishna. Don't force them to become Krishna conscious, because you cannot force Krishna consciousness upon anyone. And that Prabhupada also said, don't force, but expose. Give them Krishna. Krishna is very nice. Krishna is very kind. And Krishna consciousness is the best thing in the world. There's nothing better. We are so happy to be in Krishna consciousness and so grateful. My God, when I sometimes think about my life, what it would be without Krishna. What it would be if Prabhupada didn't do that, what he did, if he didn't go to the West and spread Krishna consciousness. Just go back, 50 years, there was no Krishna consciousness all over the world. Now there is. We take it for granted, it's everywhere. Any country you go, practically speaking, there is some temple of Krishna or some center of Krishna. You can go, you can get prasadam, you can see devotees. But 50 years ago, it wasn't like that. The whole world was empty, it was void, it was just no Krishna. Just in India, maybe you had, but we didn't have Krishna. So it's such a wonderful thing, it's Krishna consciousness. It's such a relief. So children, we also have to give them Krishna in a very nice way. Give them chance to become Krishna conscious and show them. But we also have to show them that this world is what it is. Don't delude them, thinking that, yeah, we give you good education and you'll do it. You'll master your future, you'll be great, earn lots of money, have good job, you'll be happy. No, you will not be happy. Because it is not possible to be happy in the miserable world. Is it possible to find a nice well of water in the desert? No, there is no water in the desert. Don't go for water. If you want to find water, don't go into the desert. You will not find water in the desert. That's not the place. So we should educate our children, tell them this world is a place of misery. It's a horrible place. Birth, death, old age, disease. These are problems of life. Can you avoid them? Can you make sure that if you give them the highest education, you send them to America, London, Paris, will they be able to cross over the birth, death, old age and disease problem? No. I mean, even worse, if you give them that illusion that life is great, if you can just, have PhD from London, then you make it even worse. Because they believe it and then, they cannot cross this ocean of birth and death. So you have to inform our children that, this world is a horrible place. Place of birth, death, old age and disease. And you know what? There are statistics. In every 100 people, 100 die. The mortality of every living species in the mortality is 100%. Not that you don't die. You're not going to die, my son. If you just have PhD and good bank balance, you're not going to die. Or you're not going to get cancer. No, it's not like that. Everyone will have to die. So we need to give that information, and on top of that we have to give them very positive information, that there is a place of Ananda Mudivardhanam, a very increasing bliss and happiness, to which when you once go, you don't come back. And that's it. And we have to also take it ourselves. Because we need to also know, we have to also realize, this place is a place of misery. It's a horrible place. We have come to a horrible place because we are fools and rascals, basically speaking. This is Prabhupada. He kindly informed us of that fact. We are fools and we are rascals. We've turned away from Krishna. And in that deluded state, we tried for happiness to no avail. It didn't happen. We got frustrated. And everyone will be frustrated, baffled in that idea of trying to be happy. Not possible. The body is getting old. When you're young, you think, yes, the whole world, I'll conquer the whole world. After some time you realize, no, it's not possible. The body is getting old. Everyone is getting old. The body has to die. And it will go through the phases of diseases. Who wants to be diseased? No one wants. Who wants to die? Who wants to be old? But these things are imposed on us. We cannot avoid them. So we should admit that these are the problems of life. Because if I don't want to die, but I have to die, that means it's a problem. If I don't want to be diseased, but I get diseases, that means it's a problem. I don't want it and it comes. So it's a problem. So don't think these are not problems. But some people think, yes, this is natural. Yeah, it's natural. And they kind of want to say, yeah, it's natural. Okay, let's embrace it. But if it's natural, then why is it that you don't want it? Because it is not natural for the soul to be diseased. It's not natural for the soul to go through death. The soul is Sat Chit Ananda. It's full of bliss. Disease is not full of bliss. It's horrible. It's suffering. The soul is Sat. It's eternal. But it's put into this temporary situation. And it's full of knowledge, What is full now? It's full of ignorance. It's dark world. We're born in complete ignorance. That's why you have to learn everything. From our parents, they have to tell us even what is our name, who we are, and everything. We have to be serious. So much in ignorance. So it's not natural. If someone says, that's part of life. No, it's not. Because the soul doesn't have to die. The soul does not have to be diseased. And it shouldn't experience these things. And that's why we don't want these things. Because actually we are the spirit soul. And that's why we don't want to experience these things. This is a foreign land, that body. Prabhupada says this is a disease of skin and bones. To have bones, to have skin and veins and blood and mucus and all these different things within the body, it's actually a diseased state of the soul. This is the disease of the soul. As long as we think we are this body, we cannot understand it. That's why you have to wake up from that illusion of thinking in terms of this material body. We are not this material body. This is the basis, this is the starting point in Krishna consciousness. Great point. Wow, when I read it, it was like, wow, finally. Such a revelation. I'm not this material body. Because otherwise, yes, you suffer and you don't know why. No, it's like you're suffering within this material body. And why am I suffering? But then when you realize, actually, I'm not this material body, and this is why I'm suffering, because I am within this material body, that's such a great relief. So Krishna consciousness, from beginning to end, is just bliss. Only when we are attached to the concept of of enjoying that material body, then we may not like to hear that kind of message. Sometimes people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear about death, because it's disturbing. They want to enjoy, and now here is death. But Prabhupada said, death should always be in front of our eyes. Death, Prabhupada said, is our philosophy. This is what Prabhupada said. This is our philosophy. Why? Because yes, it destroys everything. If you have any concept of trying to enjoy this world, just think about death. That's it, over. You don't have to plan anymore anything to how to enjoy it. That's over. Death, okay. I'm going to die very soon. Why should I be doing this nonsense thing? And then again, karma and, So this is from beginning to the end, it's wonderful. But then you go further, you will realize more. Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness, one day you can speak to Krishna face to face. That's the promise, great promise. Speak to Krishna face to face. It's possible, because Krishna is a person, supreme person. He's our best friend. Would you like to talk to your best friend? Yeah, we like meeting friends. So here is our best friend. There's no better friend than Krishna. But he may not come to the meeting if we like to meet Maya instead. We think Maya is our best friend. Instant bliss. We had the discussion also, that how to, what was the question? How to go for that higher pleasure if we have those lower pleasures, but they are at hand. They are instantly available. So yes, that's as long as we are attached to this material body, we may like to enjoy it, and then we will not like to hear this message. But we have to understand these material pleasures. There's pleasure. We don't deny that. There's pleasure in material sense gratification, but it's all temporary. There's no satisfaction in that. That's why from one pleasure you jump to another and another and another and another, always feeling not fulfilled, always wanting more and more and more and more, because it is never going to satisfy that need of the soul. Soul needs happiness. Material pleasure, although it's pleasurable, does not equal happiness. You may experience pleasures in this world. These don't give you happiness. Material pleasure does not give you happiness. It gives you pleasure, but no happiness. Whereas Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada said, it's also sense gratification. We dance, we chant, we sing, we eat. we watch beautiful deities, it's sense gratification, but it's all connected with Krishna. So it's purifying us. So we don't deny, we just dignify these activities. So this is the thing, this is what we should do. We should engage our senses in activities of Krishna consciousness, purify our existence in this way, and at the end, at the final moment of our life, which is called death, remember Krishna and go back to Krishna and never come back here. That's the whole point of Krishna consciousness. Actually, what we are doing here, we are preparing for death, so that at the moment of death, we are Krishna conscious. Because death is the moment when all your sadhana, whatever you do in your life, will be tested. So whatever you do throughout your life, this will contribute to that final moment. And what your consciousness is at that time is crucial. And what your consciousness is going to be at the time, well, that depends on how you live your life now and what is your consciousness from one moment to the other every day. If you are Krishna conscious, then there is great chance we will be Krishna conscious at the time of death. If you are not, if we take it very easy, we don't need it, then you come back here to realize again how painful it is to be born in this material world. The first thing when I came by the grace of Srila Prabhupada to Krishna consciousness, the first thing was, I don't want to be born again and go to school again. That was what I was thinking, because it's such a suffering. School for me was always so, from the day one I was suffering in school. My God, such horrible life. Child is, it's literally slaughterhouse. And to make it more funny, at the end I became a teacher also. But as a teacher, I was in a more privileged position. I could quit, and I did. After 1 year, I quit. But I could see also how they slaughtered these little children, actually. They slaughtered. This whole modern education system, it just slaughters them. I will not be going now into details of that because we have to come to the end. But I realized this. It's horrible. Children are suffering there also. Everyone is suffering in this world. So much suffering. Here I was in this city, horrible city today. My God, such suffering. So horrible. The conditions in which people have, agreed to live in, horrible. My God, it's worse than, animals in the forest, they have much better situation than people in that modern city of Bangalore. Horrible. Stinky, dirty, horrible, all suffering. That's why I was just thinking, when I was walking, I was thinking, my God, this is only Krishna consciousness is the solution. There was some banner on some shop, it was called the Supreme, because we are the real knowers of plastics, some company, knowers of plastics. My God, what are you talking about, What's the idea? Such horrible words. Knowers of plastic, supreme knowers. This Bhagavad Gita as it is. Very nice for us, but we should give it also to this suffering world. They really need it. So, I'll stop here. Maybe there's some questions or some points, something, comments. If not, then we have time for our Arati, is there? Arati, and then Prasadam, and Hare Krishna. No questions? Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Hare Krishna.